This was no longer just about espionage, it was about survival. Chaos erupted as officers scrambled to their stations, the atmosphere shifting from tense anticipation to frantic urgency. Ilara's heart raced as she exchanged a worried glance with Lyra. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice barely rising above the cacophony. "An attack," Zarek shouted, rallying the officers around him. "Prepare for immediate defense. We must contain the situation." Ilara felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. This wasn't just a test of her loyalty, it was a battle for the very soul of the Empire. The choice between her duty and her growing feelings for Lyra loomed large. "Lyra, we can't stay here," Ilara urged, her instincts screaming at her to escape. "We need to get to safety and regroup." But Lyra shook her head, determination etched on her face. "No. We need to help. This is my home, and I won't let it fall apart." Before Ilara could protest, Lyra sprinted toward the command center's exit, and Ilara had no choice but to follow. They burst into the hallway, where chaos reigned. Officers rushed past, weapons drawn, shouting orders, and the distant sound of explosions rattled the walls. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "We need to reach the armory. If they're attacking, we'll need weapons to defend ourselves." Ilara's mind raced. This was the heart of the Empire's strength, and if they could secure the armory, they might turn the tide. But the risks were immense. "What if we get caught?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Then we fight," Lyra replied fiercely, and Ilara felt her resolve strengthen. There was no turning back now. As they navigated the corridors, Ilara's heart raced. The air was thick with smoke, and the smell of scorched metal filled her nostrils. They rounded a corner to find a group of officers pinned down by enemy fire. "Cover me!" Lyra shouted, and before Ilara could process the command, Lyra sprinted toward the nearest barricade, firing her weapon with precision. Ilara hesitated, then instinct kicked in. She grabbed a fallen weapon from the ground, her pulse quickening as she joined the fray. This was not what she had signed up for, but as she took aim and fired, the adrenaline surged through her veins. They fought side by side, a seamless partnership forged in the heat of battle. Ilara could hardly believe how quickly they fell into rhythm, but she couldn't let herself think too deeply about it. Each shot she fired felt like a betrayal of her original mission, yet it felt so right. After what felt like an eternity, the enemy forces began to retreat. "We did it!" Lyra shouted, her face alight with victory. But Ilara couldn't celebrate. "This isn't over. They'll regroup and come back stronger," she said, glancing down the corridor where shadows lingered. "Then we need to prepare," Lyra replied, her expression shifting from triumph to resolve. "We need to get to the armory now." As they moved forward, Ilara felt the stakes rising. Each moment spent fighting alongside Lyra deepened her internal conflict. Could she really betray the Varnax Empire after all they had shared? Just as they reached the armory doors, an explosion rocked the building, throwing them both to the ground. As Ilara scrambled to her feet, she heard a voice behind them, cold and familiar. "You two have caused quite a stir.